It was a gray day of the color and texture of iron, one of those wordless days of a plastic rigidity too dead to make or release snow, even in which even light did not alter but seemed to appear complete out of nothing at dawn and would expire into darkness without graduation. The village was lifeless. The shuttered and silent gin and blacksmith shop, the weathered shop, the motionless horse, alone, postulating life, and that not because it moved, but because it resembled something known to be alive. But they would be inside the store. He could see them, the heavy shoes and boots, the overalls and the jumper coats, bulging over the massed, indiscriminate garments beneath. Planted about the box of pocked sand in which the stove, squatting, radiated the strong good heat which had an actual smell, masculine, almost monastic. A winter's concentration of unwomaned and deliberate tobacco spittle, annealing into the iron flanks. The good heat, he would enter it, not out of the bleak, barren cold, but out of life. Mounting steps and walking through a door and out of living. The horse raised its head and looked at him as he passed it. But not you, he said to it. You've got to stand outside. Stand here and remain intact for the blood to contrive to run through. I don't. He mounted the steps, crossing the heel-gnawed planks of the gallery. On the closed door was tacked a paper placard advertising a patent medicine, half defaced. The reproduction of a portrait. Smug, bearded, successful, living far away and married, with children, in a rich house, and beyond the reach of passion and blood's betrayal, and not even needing to be dead, to be embalmed with spaced tacks. Ubiquitous and immortal in 10,000 fading and tattered effigies, on 10,000 weathered and paintless doors and walls and fences, in all the weathers of rain and ice and summer's harsh heat about the land. Then with his hand already on the knob to turn it, he stopped. Once, it was one of those football trips, of course. He had never ridden in a train otherwise, save on that night visit to Memphis. He had descended onto a bleak station platform. There was a sudden commotion about a door. He heard a man cursing, shouting. A Negro ran out the door, followed by a shouting white man. The Negro turned, stooping, and as the onlookers scattered, the white man shot the Negro in the body with a blunt pistol. He remembered how the Negro, clutching his middle, dropped onto his face, then suddenly flopped over onto his back, actually appearing to elongate himself, to add at least a yard to his stature. The cursing white man was overpowered and disarmed. The train whistled once and began to draw away. A uniformed train man breaking out of the crowd and running to overtake it and still looking back from the moving step. and he remembered how he shoved himself up instinctively, using his football tactics to make a place where he looked down upon the man lying rigid on his back, still clutching his middle, his eyes closed and his face quite peaceful. Then there was a man, a doctor or an officer, he did not know, kneeling over the Negro. He was trying to draw the Negro's hand away. There was no outward show of resistance. The forearms and hands at which the doctor or officer was tugging merely seemed to have become iron. The Negro's eyes did not open, nor his peaceful expression alter, but he merely said, "Look out, white folks. I already been shot." But they unclasped his hands at last, and he remembered the peeling away of the jumper, the overalls, a ragged civilian coat beneath which revealed itself to have been a long overcoat, once the skirts cut away at the hips with a razor. Beneath that, a shirt and a pair of civilian trousers. The waist of them was unbuttoned, and the bullet rolled out onto the platform, bloodless. He released the doorknob and removed the overcoat and hung it over his arm. "At least I won't make a failure with one of us," he thought, opening the door, entering. At first he believed the room was empty. He saw the stove in its box of pocked sand, surrounded by the nail kegs and upended boxes. He even smelled the rank scorch of recent spitting. But no one sat there. And when a moment later he saw the brother's thick, humorless, surly face staring at him over the desk, for an instant he felt rage and outrage. He believed that Varner had cleared the room, sent them all away deliberately in order to deny him the last vindication, the ratification of success which he had come to buy with his life. And suddenly he knew a furious disinclination, even a raging refusal to die at all. He stooped quickly aside, already dodging, scrabbling about him for some weapon, as Varner's face rose still further above the desktop like a bilious moon. "What in the hell are you after?" Varner said. "I told you 2 days ago that window sash ain't come yet." "Window sash?" LeBeau said. "Nail some planks over it," Varner said. "Do you expect me to make a special trip to town to keep a little fresh air out of your collar?" Then he remembered it. The panes had been broken out during the Christmas holidays. He had nailed boards over them at the time. He did not remember doing it, but then he did not remember being told about the promised sash 2 days ago, let alone asked about it. And now he stopped remembering the window at all. He rose quietly and stood the overcoat over his arm. Now he did not even see the surly, suspicious face anymore. "Yes," he thought quietly. "Yes, I see. She never told him at all. She didn't even forget to. She doesn't even know anything happened that was worth mentioning." Varner, still talking, apparently someone had answered him. "Well, what do you want then?" "I want a nail," he said. "Get it then." The face had already disappeared beyond the desk. "Bring the hammer back." "I won't need the hammer," he said. "I just want a nail." The house, the heatless room in which he had lived for 6 years now, with his books and his bright lamp, was between the store and the school. He did not even look toward it when he passed. He returned to the schoolhouse and closed and locked the door. With a fragment of brick, he drove the nail into the wall beside the door and hung the key on the nail. The schoolhouse was on the Jefferson Road. He already had the overcoat with him. Chapter 2. Through that spring and through the long succeeding summer of her 14th year, the youths of 15 and 16 and 17 who had been in school with her and others who had not swarmed like wasps about the ripe peach which her full damp mouth resembled. There were about a dozen of them. They formed a group, close, homogeneous, and loud, of which she was the serene and usually steadily and constantly eating axis and center.